I've been on a business trip, and on that business trip, I found out something, and that is that one of my colleagues apparently listens to this podcast.
Oh, shit, I need to... Oh, no!
Because, and apparently, they listen to it more than, they've listened to it more than a single episode. Because the subject ended up, at one point, being about NFTs. And being me, I, of course, go, fuck NFTs. And then the one of the people are like looking at me a little, confused, like, well, what's the deal? and my colleague just leans in and goes, yeah, Lasse fucking hates NFTs. They mention it every time during his podcast. And I'm like, so, like, you have had to have listened to more than one episode to make that claim.
Well, first off, to Lasse's colleague, thanks for the views, but also, hi, I'm Cloudy, I'm a bit unhinged. Sorry about that. Listen, whatever I say does not reflect on Lasse, just putting that out there.
Okay.
For legal reasons?
Okay,
yes.
so like you mentioned that, because and that actually segues nice and easily into. So I had the seminar thing, 223 plus attendees, so that was great. And during that, near the end, they were asking questions, and one of them was like, "Hey, what's your YouTube channel?" And I'm not gonna tell you because I would prefer to keep my work and YouTube separate. And fortunately, they understood why. You might, by the way, Claude, you might want to check your Discord audio again. I think it's doing that thing again.
It's doing the thing where I'm getting cut off?
Yeah.
Hang on. Maybe it should be a little better now because it turned off crisp.
Yeah, it does sound better.
Okay, there we go.
Alright, bullshit, just wait for your WCR numbers to spike up. They'll be hitting you up on Google. Well, I'm sure that if you actually start doing the research properly, you can probably link my name because it's a pretty unique name even in Danish standards. You can probably link that to one of my social medias that will link to a video that I had at some point put up. So
everyone's gonna find the dating video at some point. I think that's just a law of the universe.
Someone's got to do it at some time.
Somebody with a pulse will find you eventually.
I know that they found. Well, I did link to it at the end, but once I was done with the seminar, I had like 4 or 5 new requests to link up on LinkedIn. So it's like, okay, we're going here.
Oh. They're gonna find the Elzeron review.
Well, no, because we took that down.
We took down the Elzeron? Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, Richard asked, and we obliged. Oh well, I obliged.
Yeah, right. I forgot about that. History in the making.
Yeah.
But you know what you know what I hope they find eventually? I hope they find the Berserk review that you are working super damn hard on.
Hold on. Actually, while we're here, let me look up, because I over the weekend I just decided, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna chuck this Red Bull and I'm gonna see what I can do. And I just started going. I've made it through the eclipse, and I am now up on 81 pages of script. Again, a normal webcomic relief episode is about 12 pages. And that's a long one.
This is like a fucking feature-length movie, and I'm fucking excited.
This is going to be the fucking entire Marvel cinematography in just like one movie.
I
video.
mean, that'd be worth it because like it's a series that deserves that much fucking like analysis.
And it should be stated, this is only the Golden Age, just because I'm parting it up. And there will be even more because I'm going to be covering up to the point where Guts, takes up the mantle of the Black Swordsman and the Golden Age arc officially ends, and then there will just and then I'm going to go into the part where I talk about like the series as a whole, like, hey, Skull Knight, Skull Knight is actually Geyseric, and and now that we have covered everything, I can talk about why that is. Hey, can we talk about the genius that is the Dragon Slayer and all swords that God uses because they do not have a guard reflecting his straightforward, aggressive and fighting style? Like, all of that shit that I haven't been able to talk about.
He couldn't call it a sword. It was just a heap of raw iron. A mess of iron, yeah. I heard some translations call it a heap, but still, that's like the most raw description of a fucking sword of anything.
The fact that they make an active effort not to call it a sword is just so fucking cool.
This is just a force of fucking you up. How many pages are dedicated to a rant about how Griffith did nothing wrong?
0, because I will admit I am biased in this video, so from the fucking get-go, I'm going, Griffith is a fucking psychopath, and here are all the warning signs that are cleverly hidden throughout the comic. I don't know if I mentioned it in an earlier podcast, but hey, remember when the Hawks start fighting Guts at the beginning, and then they're like, hey, let's steal his money? And Griffith is like, yeah, sure, do whatever the fuck you want. And then they go fight him and they get fucking killed. And only then does Griffith show up clad in his armor, meaning the man took the fucking time to put on his suit of armor while his men were fucking dying.
Why didn't he put it on beforehand? That's what I was wondering about. Adventurers wear their armor all the time.
Yeah, there is a moment in it where like I had a fucking brain explosion. So, I will admit, when I first experienced Berserk, when I first read the manga and then like later watched the movies, I always wondered, why is it that Griffith, after Guts leaves, goes up and has sex with Charlotte? Is it just because he's emotionally distressed because of it all, or like does he seek comfort or something? And then, after now reading it, I now know why, and it's because that Griffith is an impatient asshole, and he wants to. He is fearing that Guts is leaving him in the dirt. And so he wishes to surpass him by getting to become a king before Guts can reach his dream. And so he wants to solidify that by sleeping with Charlotte. And so there was also a point that kind of stood out that kind of relates to this, and that is that earlier in the comic there is that I think he's a duke or something who tries to get Griffith assassinated. By the dude with the crossbow and everything, and so
I vaguely remember that, yeah.
And so Griffith tasks Guts to go in there and kill him, and Guts does that, and then he's being seen by the Duke's son, and he then and Guts accidentally kills him in a fit of panic. And I was always wondering, like, this seems like I know that Griffith is like a psycho, but this seems weirdly vindictive. He seems like the dude has gotten given that it was the Duke as well who punched him, but he seems like the kind of guy who will take everything on the chin as long as it doesn't put his dream in danger. So I was always wondering, why this? And then there's this small little snippet where Judo is talking to Guts before Guts leaves, where he's like, "Oh yeah, it was actually supposed to be the Duke who was the second in line for the throne, and after him it was his son, but both of those were killed. Well, don't know why. So that really worked out in Guts' favor." And I was like, oh, it wasn't because Griffith was fucking petty. It was because he wanted to fucking to clear the queue for the throne. And I was like, okay, but surely he could not have predicted that Guts was going to kill the Duke's son. Except the first line that he says to Guts after a time skip, where Guts is like, "Hey man, sorry, I kind of rushed off on my own and started, murdering recklessly." Griffith just says, "Oh, don't worry. That part of you I always take into consideration when I make plans." So I'm like, the fucking dude is playing 5D chess. Well, to the point where when you just read the comic casually, you don't fucking pick up on how far ahead this dude is.
So I feel like there's got to be some side of red flags whenever you see someone plan for contingencies like that. Because I imagine the state of planning you have to have is okay, I'm going to send him to kill Guts. That's going to be that's the thing that has to happen. But if I put Guts in the way of this kid, he might get so mad he chops him up. That's also good for me. It's placing dominoes and just watching them fall.
And there's a really cool thing about Muir's writing about all of these things, especially when it comes to Griffith's signs of him being a psychopath, which is that you realize it in hindsight. For example, this whole thing of him getting Guts to kill the Duke and his son. Mm-hmm. You only realize that it was for the sake of the throne way later, 20 chapters later or something. Judo mentions it in passing. You don't even know that they're in line for the throne.
I mean, I'm sure Griffith knew because Griffith's planning everything so he can become king.
Exactly. So also Caesar, don't worry, they are blocked. Yeah, but they got yeeted deleted. So there's a ton of that in this Berserk video. There's also the thing where that was actually one of the things that spurred me to make the video. Was I remember there was this point where Wild, which is the demon that Guts kills, fights, and him and his bros come riding on their horses, and they have these spears with this family with their chopped up naked dismembered bodies on top of him, and they're playing around with them and everything. And that picture I kept seeing it on Twitter, and just people oh my god, this is a fucking disturbed individual who made this. What kind of fucking psycho glorifies this shit? Yada 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 yada. And I think that is one of the more disingenuous things that I have seen in a while, because when I went back and read this part, everyone, and I do mean everyone, even the fucking villains, are this shit is fucked up. I want no part in it. The king, who, spoiler by the way, the king who attempts to rape his own daughter is I would really not, like, I would not wanna use these fucking guys. They are fucking wild. Guts gets fucking ultra pissed when he notices this. Normally, he doesn't bat an eye. But here, he gets ultra pissed. Casca looks like she's about to throw up. And she's seen some shit. Everyone are like, fuck these people. So to say that oh yeah, Miura condones this. No, fuck you.
Oh yeah. Like, you can tell the people who just want to say that just because they're the kind of people who get mad just at content without looking at the context of it.
Yeah.
Because like I always feel you can always have something horrible and awful in your story, but you also can't glorify it at the same time. You can point at it and like be like, this shit's fucked up, huh? Don't do it. But you can't
how like imagine, right? Imagine it, because in Berserk the main villain is the world. Griffith encompasses a lot of that, but the main villain in Berserk is the world. The entire theme of Berserk is struggling and fighting to find a place to belong in an unjust world. It's, maybe I'm a little polishing a little here and there, but that is what it is at its core. So imagine if you had fucking Star Wars, right? And you wanted to have Vader be the big main villain. Now imagine if you could not show Darth Vader. Because that's what it is. Like, the villain in this comic is how terrible people are. How are you gonna show that by not fucking showing how bad people are?
Like, there's this like comparison to One Piece I liked making when I heard about someone comparing that with Berserk. Like, they're
there's
kind
been
of like
a lot of that going on.
Oh yeah, and there's like a two sides of the same coin thing where Berserk is like it's a story about finding hope in a really dark and depressing world. Yeah. And One Piece is like the flip side where you have a big, happy, hopeful world, and then you're like the objective of that is exposing the darkness. Because as you go on to that story, you're about to, like, after Thriller Bark, you're basically going to see, like, human trafficking, slavery is basically legal in the One Piece world. Oh, if you're rich enough. Yeah.
Just like
it's actually a big plot. Just like the real world. And it's, like, and it's kind of fucked up. And, like, but yeah, no, I like that. I like when stories don't shy away from something really fucked up, but it's also, like, they're also not afraid to call it fucked up as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never just there for shock value with either of these stories, especially Berserk. Yeah. Like, if it's fucked up, you will know it's fucked up, and you're going to see the impact it has on everybody.
There's even one of the go-tos is that Berserk is needlessly violent or anything.
I do not agree with that at all.
And no, I don't agree with it either. But because you see that the comic is very capable indeed of restraint when it comes to violence. Every time Casca and Griffith kill someone, you basically just see like a tiny little, like they might as well have made an insertion with a scalpel. There's a teeny tiny little speck of blood to show that they did in fact get hit, but that's about it. It is only when the demons and Guts swing their weapons to establish, holy fucking shit, these people are vicious. There's it's an entirely different ballpark when these people are doing their violence, and they use that amount of violence to tell something. It's not just there because guess what? We need violence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is a really good point, especially when you come to like contrasting the two. Because I'm trying to like find a way to describe this because like you're gonna do it better than I can. But it's like Griffith and Casca, like especially during the Golden Age, they're fighting really precise and calculated. It's like nothing's needless. because that's how you get the shit done. You don't kill more than you need to, not out of satisfaction. It's just, day-to-day routine. Whereas, like, Guts is, like, it's super emotional. You can tell in his viciousness. It's just like, I'm gonna swing my sword, and if you're in the way, that's on you.
Yeah.
That kind of shit. Yeah.
He doesn't have and that's also a thing that kind of, fits the entire theme, is that the only single enemy that Guts has is Griffith. Other than that, he's just angry at the world. Hence why when he swings his sword, he hits everybody. He does not have a precise weapon, nor a precise fighting style, because his opponent is never just one person. It's not until that Griffith shows up that it becomes one person, and even then, for the most part, he's only fighting massive, groups of enemies. Hence why, as you say, I'm gonna swing my sword, and if you're in the way, that's your own fault.
Exactly.
He's basically like that fucking bit from Simpsons where I'm gonna swing my arms like this and keep moving forward, and if you get hit, that's your own fault. Well, I'm gonna kick my feet like this, and if you get hit with that, that's your own fault. Like that's Guts swings.
Which I also like. It definitely isn't nihilist, because like you said, it goes back to the whole theme about fighting against the world and struggling and such. But it's also I love it, especially when it's like after the Golden Age, when he starts getting that party around him, rebuilding that family. The whole he's suddenly like, okay, I don't want to hit everybody, but also just don't get in my fucking way, please.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's good. It's all based on his character. It's great.
I make a statement in the comic, and I really hope that it's something that people can agree with, because I'm kind of saying it with my chest, but I honest to God believe it, which is that when people think of their favorite moments from Berserk, they may not necessarily think of, remember when he does the cool swing with the sword? No, the moments that stand out in Berserk are moments like when I believe the mage is called Shirk, when she loses her hat and Guts picks it up and puts it on her head.
Oh yeah, it's actually amazing when it's shit like that, because when you have violent depictions happening all the fucking time, and you're always constantly showing how grim and dark the world is, it's those little moments of just quiet respite you find that kind of showcase the goodness in this boy, this man. It's just, when you contrast it with everything else you've fucking seen up to that point, it just makes it look all the more, I guess the word I'm going to use is glorious.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes when you have everything loud, when you have a quiet moment, the quiet moment seems a lot more significant.
Yeah, exactly. I remember I brought that moment there where he puts the hat on Shirk's head up to Alice. I was like, fucking, just imagine for a moment, right? This is a man who has been fucked his entire life. He got fucking birthed by a corpse. Shit's been wild for this kid. His entire fucking life. His best friend betrayed him. His girlfriend got raped into retardation. And I'm using the medical term there, don't worry. His child got corrupted with his betraying best friend's dark energy, and is now haunting him, and he has seen nothing but death and sorrow and pain and struggle his entire fucking life. And this motherfucker is still able to be kind.
Honestly, Guts is a role model just for that sake alone.
Right?
Okay. You find a lot of draft. This is a reason I can't fucking stand Grimdark, because they always miss that part of the story where everything sucks, but you still find the strength to not be a fucking bitch, nihilist, whatever. Because a lot of these stories always fail at that point. They just showcase how dark and awful the world is, but they never showcase, the humanity in it.
Yeah,
and that's never true at the end of the day. When you have somebody who can fight to the point where just they can still be kind and still have a reason to keep going, that's how you know you have a good story.
Yeah. It's like what Caesar wrote in the chat. It does the thing that all those early 2000s furry webcomics failed to do. It uses fucked up things to prove the message without using it tastelessly. Yeah, because those old 2000s furry webcomics, I'm thinking Suicide for Hire or Jack or something. In those, it's always just this is a person who's really angry with the world. Full stop. But the thing that makes Guts so amazing is that behind all this anger, behind this fury, behind this cold and brooding person is a hurt man who is still able to be kind.
Man, just gone through so much, man.
Which just when you see him, when you see this man fucking when he meets Casca again after in that religious town thing, and he drapes her with his cape. When you see that vulnerable part of him, where you see how sad it makes him that the love of his life is scared of him and can't speak or anything, and when he's being haunted by the corruption of their child, when you then see him being confronted by Griffith, and Griffith is like, oh yeah, I just followed my dream, fuck these people, and you then see Guts flip out to the point where the artwork depicts him as nothing but spiky lines, because he's just roaring. There's not even a sound effect on the page. It's just him fucking screaming. You fucking feel that.
Okay. I haven't really read a lot of Berserk, but I know that panel you're talking about, and I saw it, and I'm like, that's fucking genius. Because that's just hey, you want to see what the raw depiction of anger looks like? Here you go. It's fucking scribbles. Oh my god. But it was just done so fucking well when you put it like that.
Yeah, and I there's also a thing that I noticed, which is that Guts it works because he is just a fucking guy. He is not a person. He's not half demon or anything. He's not possessed. He's not enhanced in any way. He has a big fucking sword, and that's all. Yes, later he does get the Berserk armor, but at that point we are so fucking deep in the comic that we understand that both the Dragon Slayer and the Berserk armor are not necessarily there to enhance him. It is just tools that can keep up with him. And that works because this is a story about a man who is struggling. It's an incredibly human. It's an incredible, when you remove all the demons and all that shit, it's an incredible human and down to earth and very relatable story. So the fact that you use a normal fucking guy who has PTSD, who has trauma, who is going through these fucking things, who have complicated emotions, and dealing with other people who also have complicated emotions, it really just tells you that this is a fucking, this is a guy like you and me who got given the worst hand that the world could possibly give someone, and he still manages to be kind. So be kind. I totally get. I don't agree with it, but I totally get why people can read Berserk and go, "Oh, it's so fucking, it's edgy and it's only violent and it's all just sad and miserable." When it is in fact one of the most hope-inspiring comics I have ever read.
I do think like it's kind of like the Evangelion thing, where like they look at the most horrible parts and they stick to it without looking at the series as like a whole. Because definitely a lot of this has to do with people just sucking the dick off of the Golden Age, which, to be fair, valid, because it's like the best. It's pretty good. But at the same time, the story doesn't fucking end there. There's still like everything else after that.
Congratulations, you made it out of the tutorial level. Like, it's basically that.
It's basically that. It's just like people go to and they stop playing the game at the end of the tutorial.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, why a lot of this conception happens. It also doesn't help that like almost all the anime adaptations only stop at the Golden Age. And the one attempt we had to go forward, oof.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not gonna be touching the animes and stuff because that is right for just like copyright and all that shit. But I will say, the 2016 anime adaptation not good. However, the fucking music in that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? Fair. I will give you that. It is not as good as the original soundtrack. But it's definitely up there. If you fucking listen to Brother and the epic thing, that is one of the wildest, most raw fucking soundtracks I've ever heard. If you want to hear a soundtrack that encapsulates the idea of ripping sinew, then listen to that song.
That's such a good way to fucking put it, though. Fuck. I have to drink that in for a second. Okay. But yeah, like, just reiterating what I said, it's just, I think this series is really important to make, especially for you to touch on the things that aren't just the Golden Age, because it definitely is the misconception where, you know, the Golden Age has like the darkest of darks, and it's not the most violent, but the violence that's where it like it's so apparent, and it's not to the point where you're like numb to it, where you don't start seeing all the hope everywhere. So I think if you can like touch on that and not like, you know, stop there, you're gonna do this a really good service. Just make sure to touch past the.
I definitely will, but I am also realizing with how long it has taken me to get past the Golden Age that I will probably be like, I'll put out this video. I am thinking that maybe it will be 5 hours long. Probably, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. And then I'm gonna do a few webcomic belief episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then, depending whether or not the Berserk video here is gonna be a success, I'm gonna like go back and continue it. Because I do want to do it. But I also gotta remember, people got interested in this channel, people are subscribing to this channel, primarily because of the webcomic belief. This is pretty much just a passion project for the sake of me getting back in the saddle after being, you know, hurt a little bit. So
fair.
I understand this is not necessarily for this particular audience, and I do not want to leave this audience completely like at the roadside. I do want to give these people what they want, because why wouldn't I? So I will have to deduce whether or not this is something that people actually care about, and if not, then I will keep it on the back burner until I need something for me again. But until then, the plan is this video, webcomic relief, and then we will return to Berserk eventually.
Very fair. I do hope whatever ends up happening, that like it does take off and YouTube isn't a fucking bitch about it, because this is... I'm just excited because I want to see a video on Berserk that isn't got this weird tang of dislike. I don't even know what anime YouTubers are fucking weird, bro. I want to see one good Berserk video, for God's sakes.
I kind of hyped it up a little bit on Twitter, but I honest to God do believe that if you are a person who in any shape or form want to learn about the different aspects of writing and visual storytelling, then even if you do not care about Berserk, I do believe this video is going to be for you. Because I am going through every single fucking page. And every time that there is a notable visual storytelling or just a piece of writing that I think is worth pointing out, not only do I mention it, but I will also explain why it works and what would have happened if they did this differently. For example, you remember after they save Griffith and they run through that sewer, they get attacked by those assassins.
Mm-hmm.
And in that comic, there's a point where so they have this dude with like these really long limbs and claws on his hands. And when they encounter him, he is using his ridiculously long legs. Like he's basically doing a split, and he's like a foot on each side of the wall, and thus he's like hiding way up in the air and ready to swing down and strike them with his claws. This is a random fucking dude. The man never has a fucking name. But this dude gets an entire page just for this scene where he's hiding up there. And so I'm like, why would you do that? Because normally you only give an entire page for something when it's like really important, and this is just a fucking guy who swings down and attacks guys. Like there's nothing important about this whatsoever. But I found out that the reason for it is because Miura never. I had the perfect word for it. Compromises. He never compromises when it comes to his visual storytelling. If you had this same frame, let's say that you had it in a vertical frame instead, then you would lose the thing where he's using his long legs on each side of the wall. Okay, so you can't do that. So maybe you do a horizontal frame so you can show the split. But if you do that, you lose the part where you can see how high up in the air he is, compared to Guts, which would make you question why Guts could not just see him. So you have to do, like, if you want to really nail home what this man is doing and why he's doing it and where he is in relation to Guts, you have to give him an entire page to show it. And Miura does that. What I gave here is just like one example where I go in and I say, why is he doing this? What does it do? And what would the alternative be if Miura didn't do this? And again, if this is going to be a 5-hour-long video, it's going to be 4 hours and 40 minutes of nothing but this.
Which honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, that's the whole reason I think a lot of us followed you in the first place, because you know your storytelling shit, you know why things get done, you explain why they're good. So, please, go as fucking nuts with it as possible. Also, I love that example you brought up, because I'm thinking like Miura is like sitting down and penciling this, and it's like, no, this is getting it done my way, fuck you. I'm not compromising. I don't care if he gets chopped up in the next fucking panel. I am making this shot.
Yeah,
which I like.
I remember Raj brought it up, but there's this one moment where this captain is like, "Oh man, we shall stand and capture Guts because he's weak now," and yada yada. The man has a very unique face a unique head type. He's a little more on the hefty side. His armor is unique to show that he's a captain. The man gets his fucking head cut in mid-sentence because Miura is just uncompromising. This man has a fucking stage time that is like 4 frames, and he's given a hyper detailed face, hyper detailed proportion, and hyper detailed armor, only for Guts to fucking murk him like he owed him money.
This is like the equivalent of when everyone sucks Attack on Titan's dick for like, oh, we're not afraid to kill off protagonists. Like, Miura's not afraid to give insignificant characters the most amazing detail and effort into their existence just to kill them off in the next fucking panel.
Yeah.
Which I honestly appreciate a little more. Because, like, I don't know. When you like kill off protagonists in a way, you just give them... It's like that one trope. It's like, oh, I'm like 5 years from... I'm like one last mission from retiring, and I have a wife and kids at home. That's how I feel when a lot of series do that. But when it's like quick and simple, but also really detailed, you miss it going by, but you just sit there and look at it, you're like, what the fuck? You didn't have to spend all your time here. But I did anyway.
Give the insignificant significance and make it for a better, more fleshed out world. Yeah.
No, that's it entirely.
There is the moment where the Band of the Hawk returns to the Midland castle after taking over Tudor. And it's a 2-page spread of just watching the entire town celebrate their return. And there is, like, I showed it to Alice, and I think I almost gave her a fucking panic attack. Because there's fucking... Like, it is the most hyper-detailed fucking thing you've ever seen. To the point where if you squint, you can see there's a church in the far back. And the little dots that are coming out are clearly wearing robes. Meaning, like, you could just have drawn a stickman. But no, you remembered, hey, if there's a church, they're probably wearing robes. So let's put that in there. And all of these little details in this gigantic page spread is just selling the feeling. Like I described it in the video. It's like being part of a carnival. You can feel it. You can feel the buzz in the air. You can almost smell the street vendors and the popcorn, which obviously weren't there at the time. But if you ever attended like a festival or anything, it hits you with the exact same nuance. Like it is so true to life that it is insane. And again, it comes because Miura is uncompromising with his art. No fucking shit this thing went on hiatus so much because Miura was just built fucking different.
God. No, you're fucking right. Okay, really quick. Like, I was watching like a completely unfucking related like art tutorial, like how to do line art and shit. And as I'm watching it, for an example of how to do good lines, they brought up a panel of Berserk, and like apparently Miura does this thing which I suddenly understand why his art's really fucking good, and it's like he has this variance with lines, because usually when people make line art, it's either, oh, sometimes you're gonna make it super fucking clean, or sometimes you have people going super fucking like scribbly, and so I'll say, that's a choice. Miura just like does both. And flips it around all the fucking time. And you don't notice it until you, like, take a step back and, like, look really carefully. There's, like, details fucking everywhere. Not just in, you know, like you said, little dots wearing robes. But, like, just fucking the sheen of the armor. Or, like, the mid-swing of a sword. Where there's, like, part of it's clean. Other of it's, like, showing, like, it's, like, fucking scribbly because of the movement. I'm, like... This motherfucker was like galaxy brained. This man was fuck. So I'm still reeling over it because like I wasn't even looking for Berserk, and then some like rando brought it up, and I'm like, oh my god.
Why wouldn't you bring up one of, if not the best manga ever made?
Oh yeah, there was a fucking art tutorial of all goddamn things. I just wanted to learn how to use the line, like the pen tool, but no. I got a fucking history lesson.
Fuck, why not? Real quick, do you know how old Miura was when he made his first piece of, like, his first comic?
I'm going to assume he was like 13 or some shit.
Okay, hold on, because I have it over here in my script. I have forgotten it, and I hoped I could bring it up before I managed to ask you the question. Because the man is fucking built different.
He was an embryo when he made his first comic.
At the early age of 10, in 1976, he created his very first manga called Miuranga, which was published for his classmates in a school publication. It spanned 40 volumes, Cloudy.
So like he got his comics printed in the school newspaper. Man, that was fucking awesome.
Hold on.
Volumes? Wait, 40 volumes or 40 issues?
40 volumes.
That means there was more. Oh my god.
At the early age of 13, in middle school, in 1979, Miura was seen using drawing techniques that the professionals were known to use.
Man was built different.
When he, we're fucking in there now. When he got interned at Morikawa, the man who draws Hajime no Ippo, when he became the dude's assistant, he was there for a week before Morikawa said, "There's nothing I can teach this man."
Nothing I can teach him, bro.
So yeah, we lost Miura way too early because the man was basically God.
Yeah, I can believe that. I believe that whole fucking heartedly.
But speaking of uncompromising, I saw a movie that is also uncompromising.
What movie was that?
I'm glad you asked. It's called Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Have you heard about that?
I have not seen that movie. No, I have not. Please fill me in. Genuinely.
Okay, so I cannot tell you what the plot. It is one of those with multiple dimensions thing.
Gotcha.
String theory, chaos theory, all that good shit. No, I won't spoil it. It's fucking amazing. Like, I laughed, I cried, I got super fucking hyped, and I left the movie as a different person than I was going in. It is imagine if you took a Jackie Chan movie and mixed it with The Matrix.
Oh, shit.
And mixed it with a 1 hour long TED talk about life.
Sounds refreshing.
Starring the actor who played Shortstop from Indiana Jones 2.
What? Okay.
Yeah. So apparently, I looked into it. I don't even recall it. Was his name Shortstop?
It was a short round.
Short round. So I looked into it, and and Jamie Lee Curtis. It has real quick before I continue. It has a scene where Jamie Lee Curtis fucking does a full on drop kick. That is everything. That is everything you need to know. Anyway, so I looked into it, and the actor who plays Short Round, I forget his name, but he after he kind of became like more of an adult, he found out that the only roles that were for Chinese people were basically just like super racist stereotypes, like "Oh, Mr. George, you shall be," shit like that.
Mm.
So he just got fucking, like, he was done with Hollywood. He did not want to be a star anymore, and so instead he became like a fight choreographer, and actually did pretty well. And then this is his first debut back on the silver screen, and he does a fantastic job. And one of the first things he does is, and again I'm gonna keep it super vague, is that he uses a fanny pack in the movie, and he does that because he wanted to make fun of. The writers wanted to make to bring up that stereotype that Chinese tourists always have a fanny pack, and he makes the fanny pack cool.
Well, thank fucking God. I was having a conversation with a friend. It's like, man, I need pockets are great and all, but like, I need like something to actually hold my shit. I hope fanny packs become cool again. Okay, he's doing good. He's doing good.
I cannot explain to you how he makes the fanny pack cool, but he does so well. But yeah, fantastic movie. I cannot. It is easily one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. And it comes from the studio A24, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite movie studios. They also gave us Midsummer. They gave us... I forgot what it's called, but it's the one where the nurse believes that she is a chosen one from God. And it's just constantly flip-flopping between whether or not she is actually a chosen one from God or she's just fucking insane. Fantastic movie. I think it's also the people who gave us Hereditary. Saint Maud. It's called Saint Maud. There's also X, which is one of the greatest slashes I've seen in recent memory. Like, they never fucking miss. And they've done everything from horror to slasher and now to adventure kung fu comedy.
What's the name of the studio
So, again? A24.
Like, I haven't watched a lot of movies recently, and now you're like, oh, okay, now I have some shit to catch up on.
Dude, okay, it needs to be stressed. Hereditary is not gonna be for everyone.
I know, but I have a friend who's wanted me to watch Hereditary for a while with them, so I'm like, okay, yeah, now my interest is piqued.
If you like slow burn horror movies, Hereditary is fantastic. But if you're looking for that constant engagement and that constant or some blood and guts and spooks and flying colors and all this shit, then it's not for you. But if you like the slow burn, Hereditary is one of the best.
I like the slow burn, so yeah. I can't really promise when, but eventually I'll watch all these movies from A24 and see how my life has changed. If you don't like Hereditary, then you're the reason Hollywood horror is so shit these days. I can agree. Well, I haven't seen Hereditary, but I can agree.
Well, Cloudy, you will fortunately have quite a while to watch it because you won't be on the podcast for a month.
No, I won't. Yeah, it's a good thing we're bringing this up now because a lot of things going on in my life recently. A lot of it has to do with like job hunting and such. But yeah, month of June, Cloudy not gonna be here. However, I'm not sure if that means the podcast is gonna go off because we talked to Lasse, we've talked to a couple people.
Yeah.
You might have a whole month of guests coming in and shit.
We've been trying to reach out, but it's a little bit wishy-washy because people have to check their schedules and the dates and all this stuff. So the month of June is going to be a little special in that if there is a podcast, there will be a podcast, and if there's not, then there's not. Like, I cannot promise a weekly podcast because I'm not gonna be sitting here alone and just talk to an empty room. That was the entire reason why we decided to do it like a co-host thingy, so that we had someone to bounce off of. Because nothing is fucking more devastating than to hear someone just sit and just talk to themselves.
Yeah. At least here, like, but no. Again, I'll be fine. Don't worry. I'll definitely be back in July. It's just I'm gonna need a month to like get my shit in order. Bro. But also, I'm gonna try to use that month to do something productive. You'll see it when I come back. Just give me a bit.
Well, yeah, but it's a month in which you can watch Saint Maud, X, and Hereditary, and Midsommar.
Ooh, definitely. You know what? When I come back, we're gonna talk about that. Yeah. Also, what was that movie with Short Round again? I need to write that down just so it's on my
Everything, list. Everywhere, all at once.
Okay.
Also, I forget her name, but I think that like the movie is spearheaded by Michelle Cho, which I believe is a female Chinese kung fu like icon. I believe she's done a ton of movies with Jackie Chan, typically like the feminine lead in those movies. So yeah, fantastic.
Oh. I'm excited. I'm really excited. But you know what also makes me pretty excited, Lasse?
What makes you excited, Cloudy? I don't want to hear about the bondage, but let's hear about the other things that makes you excited.
Way to call me out. But also, actually, before I was gonna segue to the question, but actually, I just want to touch on this real quick, because you're definitely gonna know about this. The Amber Heard shit. Isn't this like the final week? I just wanted like confirmation on that.
I believe it is. I believe that it is actually going to be ending on, which it kind of leads me into something else I wanted to talk about. My birthday, which is on Friday, I believe.
Everybody customarily wish Lasse a happy birthday. Especially put it in the comments below. Nothing will probably happen except Lasse will get a really nice feeling.
I believe so. It is either the 27th or the 28th. I remember when I read it, I was like, oh, so I may be getting a birthday present.
Oh shit.
So yeah. Actually, real quick about that. Before the trial is going on right now. Don't you dare click off the stream, but it's going on right now. And I was watching it while preparing for the podcast today, and so Amber had made a thing where she brought up one of Johnny's ex-wife, I think Kate Moss, her name is. And Amber was like, oh yeah, he was abusive towards her as well. He pushed her down the stairs. And so we have now reached the point where they're bringing in the loose end witnesses or testimonials. And so they brought in Kate Moss, and they're only able to do that because Amber mentioned Kate Moss by name during her cross-examination. And you can fucking see on the lawyer and Johnny's faces when she mentions it that they light up like Christmas trees, because now they have because otherwise they wouldn't be able to call her to the stand. So they call her up and basically go, so what happened? And Kate spends 5 minutes tops on the stand going, yeah, so it rained that day. I tripped, I fell, I hit my ass. Johnny ran to my rescue, asked me, hey, do I need to call an ambulance? Carried me over where I could sit comfortably, and then called medical experts over to look at me. He never pushed me, he was never even fucking close to me, and he came to my rescue once and did get hurt. Okay, bye, bitch. And then she left.
I imagine like Kate Moss is like, listen, this like the lawyers going up to like, man, you're probably gonna get subpoenaed because like Johnny's here. Just stay back. Like, just I can imagine like Kate's like, I don't want to be on the stand. This bitch better not mention me. Oh look.
I swear, she looked like she was in an office or something. I had, like, in my head, I like to make up these funny scenarios. I like to imagine she was in a meeting, then she saw, oh, fuck, I have to go on trial. Then she left for a bathroom break, went into a separate office, fired up Skype and was like, yeah, this bitch be lying. Closed it down again and went into the fucking meeting. Like, it was that fast. And obviously, the Amber's team did not want to cross-examine her because if they did, like, Kate is a walking, talking, ticking bomb for them. If they give her a platform to talk, she's gonna throw Amber under every bus known to man.
Why'd they bring her up in the... Oh, wait, no, that's right, because Amber's a fucking idiot.
Yeah. It has been fucking wild. These past couple of days has been... So, apparently, there's a moment... this point in the Amber Heard Johnny Depp timeline where Johnny supposedly trashed one of a trailer or something that they could rent from a place, and these trailers are like themed and really high end and shit. And Amber had been like, oh yeah, Johnny was fucking violent and he fucking trashed the place. It turns out that he had maybe fucked up a lamp or some shit that cost $60 to replace, which that was it. And then there's been this dude on Twitter, the Umbrella Guy or something. He's apparently, like, I remember I was seeing a lot of him when the Vic Mignogna lawsuit was happening as well. I don't know who the dude is or what he does, but he apparently has been covering this extensively, and so they Amber's team start questioning the owner of this trailer thing, rental service, about this guy, and I think they mentioned something in the lines of, this dude has claimed to have been in talks with the Umbrella Guy, and the fucking the dude on the stand cannot keep a straight face, and he's just like, that sounds like a schizophrenic episode. And I was fucking laughing my ass off. Like, I'm just imagining someone walking around. It was the Umbrella Guy. It was the Umbrella Guy.
That's kind of a...
Okay.
The way you're putting it, you're just saying the Umbrella Guy on the stand. I'm like, I can't imagine any way for Amber to get out of this without, like, sucking the judge's dick off. Like, it just falls off his body at this point. What?
The judge is a woman.
Oh, she's fucked.
The same Umbrella Guy from the JFK
assassination.
The very same. But there's also just things where I'm like I don't know a whole lot about how these lawsuits happen and how it is with the testimonies and witnesses and all this shit. But Amber's team calls up a plastic surgeon. Or a surgeon, I forget which.
Oh, I saw the clip of that. Like, keep going. Oh my god.
I don't think it is what you think it is, but apparently they call up a surgeon and they're like, hey, so what happened? Like, what's with Johnny's finger that got cut off? And I never heard the testimony because I was on a business trip at that point. But then the next witness that Johnny's team calls up is the actual surgeon that looked on Johnny's finger. So it's just like, why the fuck did you call up this who guy? Like when these guys have the actual fucking guy.
I feel like, isn't that perjury? Isn't that like the guy on the stand? Like he just said, "Who's the fuck is Johnny?" I never saw him. Did he say anything like that, or did he like testify something about Johnny's finger?
I don't know. I think it is like, hey, I have this image of this finger. In your professional opinion, what could have caused this like damage or something? Again, I didn't see that part. I just remember reading about it when I got home. But the person you're probably referring to is the psychologist that Amber's team called up, which I think like. I honest to God do not know what Amber's no Alice, not her, not Dr. Curry. This is a different guy. Like I remember someone reading a tweet about it where it's like, this dude does not look like a psychotherapist. He looks like a psycho-rapist. Which is not a nice thing to say, and I do not condone it at all, but the guy looks fucking weird.
Like they not a psycho. He looks more like a fucking psychopath.
Yeah,
like the fucking. He's like weird and jittery on the stand. And he's like making all these weird ass claims, and I'm like, bro.
Like he's like doing all these things with his face, like. And he starts fucking picking a fight with Amber's lawyer, which, like, didn't you guys call the dude in to defend Amber? Why are you picking a fight with him?
That's like the but no, it's like I am just like surprised at the sheer incompetence of their legal team. Fucking how? How? This is a like okay. The trial's already been like a media circus since it got fucking announced. Which again, but like to this point, how do you fuck up this goddamn bad on national television?
I don't know.
Consistently.
Their balls are out on the stream, that's for sure. Yesterday's disposition, court day, I don't know the word you use for it, but they Johnny's team then called in some kind of really like high-end therapist, because apparently he was there to refute all the claims made by Psycho the rapist, and today they called Dr. Curry up, who just had a fucking laundry list of shit that was wrong with Amber's therapist, and I don't know if I mentioned it on stream, but I remember she was fucking wild because Amber's therapist, okay, so she was deducing that Amber had PTSD, right? Mm-hmm. She did that by giving her a list of symptoms for PTSD, and then Amber had to check the boxes of which she felt she suffered. Now, Cloudy, in your layman knowledge about psychology, would you not agree that this is like the most easiest thing to fake if you get a list of, hey, if you check these boxes, it means you have the thing? Isn't that the...
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Like, that's a big fucking problem, especially in the American psychology industry. Like, it's so easy to, like, fake a diagnosis so you get drugs. It's why it's so fucking hard for someone like me with ADHD to get Ritalin or Vyvanse or whatever. It's because you have all these fuckos trying to say, oh, I got ADHD, and they're just like popping it like it's free government regulated crack, and I'm like, the worst thing you can do is like send a laundry list of symptoms, because you could basically just say, I want to get a whatever sickness, illness, drugs, whatever. I'm like, no, you're not supposed to do that. They're supposed to like tell you, ask you this firsthand, and see the reactions and make the determination themselves.
Yeah, they're supposed to ask you a bunch of questions in which, like, one can move you away from that thing, and where one can move you towards the thing. So, like, in the wrong words, throw in some red herrings, because some people are actively searching for the thing that they believe will get them to the diagnosis that they want. Another thing that was weird about her, which I, as a man, took a little bit of offense to, is that every fucking time... So, they asked this therapist to do a bunch of hypothetical scenarios, and in literally every one of these scenarios, without fail, this therapist would always mention the abuser as he or man or him, and the victim as her, she, or woman. In the entire thing, not once did she present a scenario in which a woman could be an abuser. It was always men can only be the abuser, and she even said, it's been a while, but I seem to recall she even mentioned something to that regard, in that a woman can totally hit a man without, like him moving to attack her first, without it being abuse. And no, Alice, this is not the foxy Dr. Curry. The foxy Dr. Curry is the one who, as this podcast started, went on stand and went, no, listen, this therapist over here is a fucking psychopath, because why the fuck would you give her a checkbox in which she just has to check a bunch of boxes, and that will equal into diagnosing her with PTSD? That's not how you fucking do it!
I'm shocked, but like the fact this went through, and like Amber Heard not only had like a bunch of like it sounds like not only is she normally surrounded by yes men, her fucking doctors were yes men and gave her this fucking inflated notion that she could get away with it. I'm like, bro.
I remember reading that after this therapist had gone on trial and said all these things, that the people went, no fucking wonder Amber Heard said, tell them, Johnny, tell them that I, Johnny Depp, a man, and is the victim of physical abuse. When her fucking doctor is more or less verbatim saying that a woman cannot be like an abuser. No fucking wonder.
I'm like, I'm shocked and amazed that they had that fucking gall. But then again, like, I hope this therapist like lost their license, because holy shit. Holy shit.
So I do not condone this at all. Not even in a funny way. I don't condone it at all. Apparently, a bunch of people found out where this woman had her clinic, or what office. I don't recall what you call it in English. But they found that place, and then they just started leaving a ton of bad reviews, which I do not agree with that. Like, whether or not she says something that you do not agree with, you should not be giving a review unless you have actually had her as your therapist. If you have had her as your therapist, then absolutely you can say whatever the fuck you want, but you cannot judge an institution like hers based solely on her giving a testimony at a public lawsuit like this.
I personally disagree, because, like, I mean, again, if this was, like, an eatery establishment, a fucking, like, shop, like, normally that, yeah, but, like, she's a therapist. The things she says has a critical impact on the lives and states of people. Like, taking all the Amber Heard shit out of the way, like, if there's, like, a chance that, that what she's saying is passed on to like any normal person, where she's prescribing medications to people who don't have it or shouldn't need it, or like, you know, going forward with like this kind of like mental abuse. That is medical malpractice, and that's a big fucking problem in this country. Like pharmacists, my brother and my little sister are pharmacists, and like if you can be sued for up to like $5 million just for something as small as a poorly marked prescription. If you so much as like handle a pill sorting machine without gloves, that's like you're looking to upwards of $100,000 in damages. They take, for as fucked as it is, medicine's really important in this country. And if you have someone just randomly saying shit as like a psychiatrist, you're just flat out not allowed to say whatever the fuck you want. You have to say everything as calculated as possible. And if she said that with a license, yeah, no, you're fucked. You're not allowed to have that license anymore.
You know, when you put it like that, I can totally see what you mean.
Yeah. Like, again, like, if this was like just a plain old comedy bit, if it was like the fucking like Will Smith, Chris Rock, whatever, like, okay, who gives a shit? But no, like, people's lives are actually on the fucking line when you are in that position. Yeah. You are not allowed to say whatever dumb fuckery you want when the things you matter involves like drugs or somebody's mental capacity. No, that person. I don't condone this for like anyone else, but I think in this particular instance, knowing the context, I hope like if the reviews don't do it, I hope like some sort of medical bureau goes after her, because oh my god, that ain't good. I mean, just for the whole questionnaire alone, that's a big oof.
Yeah, that's not very good. Yeah. I'm especially tomorrow. I think it is. I'm very much looking forward to an expert witness, which is, you know, like again, if you don't know, this is what I have deduced thus far. I may be totally wrong, but an expert witness is basically someone who is an expert within a specific field who is there to talk about the validity and the findings of certain pieces of evidence. And and I think it's tomorrow or maybe even later today that they're going to have a expert witness testify about the metadata on Amber Heard's pictures of which I think I mentioned it last time, which that they found out has been not only edited but were also edited on unlicensed programs. That person is apparently going to testify either later today or tomorrow, and I cannot fucking wait. Because that is my field. That's photographs and shit.
When that drops, let me know so I can peer in, because I was interested in that too.
Will do. Legit question. Do you think after this fucked up therapist, there's any precedent that Amber is a victim of that? And Johnny is a victim of the result of Amber's maltreatment and essentially head fucking indoctrination. That you could certainly make the case. However, we cannot deny the fact that Amber also she actually has a criminal record of domestic abuse of her ex-girlfriend. Which I believe she committed before seeing this therapist, because I believe that she started seeing this therapist after the trouble started beginning with Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah, like even if you want to say in the best scenario, like they would fucking Amber Heard has like a backup plan to throw this therapist under the bus. That's not going to like throw out every other charge thrown into her fucking face.
No,
because even if you can say that, like, no, she dug her fucking hole so far deep in this fucking trial, like, yeah, that ain't enough.
Yeah. If anything, the therapist just makes an existing problem worse. Yeah, I will definitely believe that she already has an issue, and the therapist basically just went, "But you're a woman, fucking go at it, girl power, woo,
woo." Oh my god, just all this fucking shit. All this fucking shit's crazy.
It's just, and I think I mentioned this in the last podcast, it's just incredibly disheartening that people are equating people who are skeptical or making memes off of Amber Heard or very like excessively opposing Amber Heard, that some people are immediately equating it to right-wing politics or misogyny, because they if you look at it in a vacuum, maybe you could like go, oh, there's science here. But I think the reason why people are so fucking angry at Amber Heard is because that she has is, from the looks of things, has claimed to be a victim, thus taking credibility away from other victims, to line her own pockets and throwing an abuse victim under the bus to do so. People are not angry just because she's an abuser. There's plenty of those, and people are plenty angry with those. But the reason why Amber Heard is so hated, so disliked, is because that she has been caught lying several times under oath and is currently apparently being investigated for perjury. But also because it comes at the cost of so many. You could actually make the case that the people who are this violently against Amber Heard are people who are actually very much caring for women because they worry about the precedent that her lying is setting for other women.
It all just comes down to the fact that Amber Heard has been like excessively manipulative, especially to the people who, you know, claim to care about women but don't really think about it. It's just because like if she gets away with this, that sets rights back for women far worse than you can imagine. And whatever with the whole Ghislaine Maxwell thing, why is this big celebrity nonsense trial being pushed in the media so far? So the fact that this evil bitch has been tried for child trafficking, but no buyers have been identified. That's also another thing. It's just like media in general. Kind of what I also want to bring up about Amber Heard. She brought this all to the public, and Johnny, I think, was the one that started this with like a legal trial. So Amber basically like stirred up mob mentality to get as much press and attention as possible, while the Johnny's basically doing the whole, hey, let's do this the way it's supposed to be done.
So apparently she leaked the tape in which Johnny is manhandling a cupboard in his kitchen to TMC, and we don't know for certain whether or not who then went on and published the story in TMC. All we know is that currently TMC is filing a motion to protect a particular employee while all of this is going on against lawsuits that may happen as to people giving out like valid, not valid, information like this. So that's a strange coincidence now, ain't it? But
crazy, all this fucking happens all the time. It went yesterday, and we're getting more information as we go on.
About the whole Ghislaine Maxwell thing, there's also this thing that is way more high importance than this, and it will probably be in a closed court. Johnny specifically requested for the lawsuit to happen in Virginia, where they have a very open court policy, which is why we are now watching this whole thing on display, because normally you are not supposed to be seeing these things. but Johnny wanted people to see these things.
Yeah, American law is really stupid. It's kind of why we're not hearing anything about the Christian trials that are supposed to keep getting pushed off, because that court specifically is closed, and that's just the norm. You're not supposed to see these public things.
It's closed only in the sense that you're not allowed to broadcast it. You are allowed to show up in even if you're not immediately related, you're just not allowed to broadcast it or record it. You can take notes, but you're not allowed to record it.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it's like I said, like these like super public, high profile like cases. That is not the norm, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
This is all like the reason this is a media circus is because it's kind of, it's to illustrate the point, but also like when you have high profile shit like in behind the scenes, it's not going to get televised. Get a spy cam and stream it, pussy. Everyone in chat will promise not to tell anyone.
Sick.
You will get arrested and sent to the booty warrior in jail.
The booty warrior.
The booty warrior.
Well,
that's a real guy and it's terrifying.
Well, if anyone wants to tell us the booty warrior fanfic, where could they send such fanfic?
They can send that fanfic to webcastrelief@gmail.com. So, if you wanted to ask us anything about the Amber Heard trial, or how weird the laws are in America, or just, laugh your ass off at the shit's happening, where can they tell us? Where can they send shit to us?
They can send that to webcastrelief@gmail.com. And it might sound a little something like this.
Okie dokie. So we've got our first question of the day from our friend Jericho. Mm-hmm. And he said, "Hey, I've got something for you guys and I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. Why can't we just enjoy things like movies, series, games, or just me and Joe anymore just because we like it? What has commentary, critiquing, review, whatever it's called, done to make it so we have to assemble a court case to justify why we like something that's dumb bullshit fun first, critically acclaimed later? I know not all media is like that. There's definitely good shit out there and definitely some benefit from critique and reviews to do better next time. But do we have to pick apart everything we consume before we consider liking it? What happened to just liking something because you think it's neat?" Jerry's with the smiley face. So basically he's asking, like, why can't we just like things? And I feel like this is a very personal question. The cleanest pleasure. Everyone's talking about the booty warrior now. But, I think that's only a thing with, internet discourse. And to be fair, everyone's just allowed to like whatever the fuck they want to like. And everyone's allowed to hate whatever they want to fucking hate. That's the point of an opinion. Everyone's got one, like a butthole. So, you're allowed to like what you want to like, dude. As long as it's not like kiddie porn. Then go see a gun. Go a gun, yeah. I was trying to dance around it, so I'm glad you said it for me.
But I actually totally get where Jericho is coming from. There is this whole thing of, oh, what, you fucking like this? You're some fucking kind of dumb fuck, aren't you? Like, people can get very, very angry over you liking something, or disliking something. And I think it's because today more than ever, people are really just making the things that they like their entire identity. Because it is becoming so much easier to do so. You have fucking hashtags, you have cosplay, you have entire Twitter accounts, you have subreddits, you have TikTok account. Like if you like Spy X Family or whatever that anime is called, you will be catered to no matter where you go. And so you will be like, oh, I like Anya because she likes peanuts and she's cute and the mom is hot and the dad is handsome. Oh my god, I like it so much. And then you identify yourself entirely with that thing. And then when someone then goes and says, I don't like the thing, then people are going to take that as them assaulting you, or insulting you. Because they have just, if your entire being is this thing, and they then say, I don't like this thing, they are inadvertently saying they don't like you. That's how some people perceive it on a subconscious level. And in the same way, if you don't like something that other and get flagged for that, it can be because that you like this thing, but not the thing that they like.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, it really doesn't fucking matter. It's all media. Like we are allowed to like whatever the fuck we want, and you know what? You don't have to base your whole identity around like a thing. This is kind of why I always like touted the idea that fandoms in general are not a good idea. They're basically proto religions. No, it's the other way around. Religions are just fandoms.
Yeah.
It's all... When you base your whole identity around a piece of media, then you kind of just admit you have nothing in your life. I will actively make fun of people who will go to extreme lengths over somebody's opinion about X or Y thing. Because I think it's fine to be, like, passionate, but I also don't think it's fine to, like, actively threaten somebody's life or death over their opinion on story or whatever.
No. I also think that it kind of became popular at some point. I don't necessarily think that it was nostalgia critic or anything. But there was definitely a shift at one point where it became cool to be the extra observant viewer. So the person who would point out plot holes or bad characters or something like that. I know that because I was that person at one point where everything had to make sense. Everything had to be explained then and there. I had to find out where did they get the towel in that scene. Because I didn't see a towel before. Like, oh my god, what the fuck? Is this a magical towel? Like, there's that fucking joke in the old Simpsons episodes where Ren and Stimpy, where the mouse is like playing xylophone on the cat's ribs, and they hit the same rib twice and it makes two different notes, and they have a fucking board meeting going, is the ribs a magical xylophone? Like, that is how everyone just became at some point. And some people still maintain that is the way that everything should be, and so like they want to criticize things because it makes them feel like they're super fucking clever.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it like I forget what. I think it's I forget what. There's a movie I remember watching, and I remember that it was even brought up in the book Invisible Ink, where the dude is fleeing from prison and he's like digging his way out. And as he emerges on the other side of the wall and it's raining down and he's caked in mud, he comes out and he's like screaming like, ah! And when you think about it, that's fucking silly because the prison is right over there. They could probably fucking hear you. But he's doing it because thematically, it's him being reborn. So he's
and the Shawshank?
Yeah.
It was.
I never actually watched Shawshank Redemption.
It's okay.
But I watched that clip. But like he comes out and like it's him being reborn, so it fits thematically. So you don't have to fucking worry about all these. Sometimes you need to throw these things where every little thing has to make sense, and you fucking throw it out because it is more important to tell a thematically appropriate story. And there's a lot of people who are just like, no, everything has to fucking make sense. the magic, the rip xylophone. Like that is the problem with that kind of discourse.
Like and that's like a thing. I think like people have to like realize like every story is different and every story is written by different standards depending on what the author's trying to accomplish. Because you know what, it's very there are very valid to have like some stories that have every little like fucking cog work in perfect unison. Oh, yeah. Some stories are like that. Other ones are just crazy dumb bullshit. But if you look at it from a thematic angle, then it's like, oh my god, it's so fucking, it works. And like, it all depends at the end of the day of what the fuck you're trying to look for.
Yeah,
and that's just what it is. Lasse just submits it in ES4s. I am the lightning. The rain transform changed him.
I mean, it's a pretty good fucking scene. I remember there is that one. There was a moment, and I don't recall why, but I think that was where I was at. I actually think, now that I think about it, that it was one of those moments where I realized just how bad it was for me with that whole thing. Like everything had to make sense. Where I got really fucking upset that Toriyama had come out and explained that the thing that made Saiyan so strong was like a gene or something, like the set.
Oh yeah, the midichlorian thing.
Yeah. And I remember I was just being like, where the fuck did that come from? How the fuck does that make sense in the grand scheme of things? Yada yada yada. Oh no, it is spitting in the face of the story that it's trying to tell about like working hard to become strong, all that shit. And then now with the and I think also at some point where I realized this is fucking stupid, I look at it and go, why would I care? I'm not watching, like, if you're reading Dragon Ball for a good story, you're honestly a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
But it's fun! It's dumb hype and dumb fun. Stop thinking about, like, does this make sense or does it not make sense? Shut the fuck up! It's fun! Stop worrying about all the little details.
I think the reason why they went the whole midichlorian route was because people were complaining about the Universe 6 Saiyans and how they can contend with their power levels. It's like, well, Universe 7 Saiyans just have less of the Saiyan midichlorians, so they had to work harder. Whereas these fuckers just have a super big amount of the midichlorians, so they could just get to that power level naturally. Which I'm like, I guess that makes sense if you care about numbers and stuff, but whatever. I'm still watching Goku dab on these fuckers.
Yeah.
I think like the newest arc, there's like they're like retreading the Cell Saga in a sense. Like they're like replacing villains every other 20 chapters or so, and there's this scene where like they're like going back to like Bardock and shit. And it's the funniest thing in the world because they're like, oh, I'm having so much trouble with this villain. And then they flash back to Bardock and he's dabbing on him like shit. It's like he was recording the fight like it was fucking World Star. And Goku's like learning from this fight. And I'm like, none of this makes any fucking sense, but it's hilarious. It's literally just like Space World Star.
Oh, it is fucking Goku in that fucking supreme black and white jacket with his hands folded in front of his crotch. That actually happened while he's just going, World Star, as his dad beats someone up.
Basically, that's what's happening. He's just wearing the supreme coat. It's like, but yeah, it's like, sometimes you just gotta literally just fucking enjoy it. Like pro tip to anybody watching this, especially to you, Jericho. Do not engage with fucking fans like this. Do not try to fight them. It is not worth the hassle or the energy. Just enjoy your dumb shit. I still stand to reason that Kingdom Hearts is a really wild-ass series and probably not worth it, but I will admit, the scene in the Keyblade Graveyard where, like, they just have all the names of every player from the mobile game that shit made it up for me because I still think that's fucking raw. And that's just because my favorite trope is like, Squad. When Squad comes in at the last minute. And this is like the epitome of that. But again, I can still say the series as a whole has plenty of problems, but fuck, that part's raw for me.
Yeah.
What was that Latte arguing on the internet is like trying to headbutt a brontosaurus to death? No, that makes sense.
I don't like Kingdom Hearts. It just didn't fucking catch me, and there's a lot of things in it. Like, with all this being said, like, I just enjoy it, stupid. There can absolutely be things that break it for you. Like,
definitely.
Again, for me, I sometimes I know a little too much about how the sausage is made. So when I see people like reusing the same assets just for the sake of padding, I get annoyed. And I saw that in Kingdom Hearts, and I was like, this is not great. And then I get uppercutted with the whole Ansem thing with the journals, and given the whole thing about like the journals being like a side thing, it's not really a big thing, but it just hit me when I was already reeling from the reusing of assets, and then I'm out. That's not necessarily meaning that it's not a good game or anything. I don't think it's good, but that doesn't mean that other people can enjoy it. I can still like. I had a lot of fun with Kingdom Hearts 2, and Simple and Clean is still one of my absolute favorite pieces of music. Yeah.
The reason I always bring up Kingdom Hearts 2 because because it's like the best example of as long as you enjoy it, that's fine, but that doesn't mean other people have to enjoy it. Because like I would never force Lasse to like want to play to like admit that Kingdom Hearts is like the best or whatever because unless it's for like views and to see him get angry because we need them clicks. But like on a serious note. It really does not matter if someone else likes or dislikes it. It only matters what you fucking enjoy. You don't have to care if other people do. But
again, hey. Earlier in the podcast, I was hyping up Hereditary to Cloudy, and I'm doing that by prefacing: if you want like action and a lot of stuff happening, this is not the movie for you. Like. You can like things for being one way or the other, but like if you go in and say, Hereditary is shit, I'm going to assume that it's because that you were expecting like, spooks and blood and all this shit. And from what I can understand after talking with some people, that is apparently what the initial trailers were hyping it up to be.
Yeah.
So like, it's fine to not that if you like something and you're very passionate about something, because again, I think Hereditary is one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time. But if Cloudy then comes in July and it's like that was a fucking ass movie, I'm going to be curious as to why he thinks it, but I'm not going to take it away from him because at some point you just become old and wise enough to go. Guess what? Some people like A, some people like B.
Yeah. Fuck, like, even when it came to fucking One Piece, I'm, like, constantly apologetic for it because I know for a fact it's fucking shortcomings and it's long as fucking shit. And they keep telling you, hey, here are all these resources to make the experience more digestible. Because I am never going to tell people to fucking watch the entire anime front to back and absorb everything. If you want me to clarify something, I'll do it without hesitation. Because there's a lot of dense, dumb bullshit in it. And, like, it's hard for me to get people into it. And, like, I understand that. And I will never, like, disparage somebody to be like, I'll never, if you say One Piece sucks, I'm like, what, fair enough. There's definitely a lot of things bad with it. But, like, again, everyone's got their own standards. Yeah. Actually, speaking of One Piece, that reminded me, I wanted to mention that apparently Hunter x Hunter is coming back for real this time. Yeah. Since you're the One Piece editor, why doesn't my dad love me? Because the Call of the Sea, like, called out to him, and he decided being a pirate is more fun than taking care of a kid. Like Usopp's dad.
Bon voyage! Na, 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 na.
That's actually the canonical ass fucking reason why Usopp wants to be a pirate. It's basically the same thing as like Gon from Hunter x Hunter. It's like, no, you don't understand. Being a pirate must be so much fucking fun because my dad left us and my mom to die.
Bon voyage!
Come aboard and bring along all your hopes and dreams. Christ almighty. But yeah, no. We do have another question. This one's from Dreaker of Adrian. And he says, question 1. Hey guys, what is the weirdest thing your DM ever had you roll for? See you around, Dreaker of Adrian. And I think I've answered this question in the past, but I will say it again. As a joke, we found this PDF of the not safe for work extra stuff for Dungeons and Dragons. And it was the anal yes. Roll for anal circumference. It was awful circumference checks. Oh god. We did. Thankfully, that was not serious, but there was actually a legitimate weird thing that I had to roll for once. So during downtime in our current campaign, this was like really early. We were on a sailing ship, and my character had a curse put on him where he was not allowed to touch metal at all, or else he would like burn, like he was hit with the heat metal spell. So, but at this time, we were out in the middle of the ocean, and we were running out of food. So I fucking took the initiative and sent my character to do some oyster fishing, so we can make some money off of pearls and get meat, so we can live and shit. Now, when we did that, we were talking about, like, you know, oh, he's basically there sitting for hours shucking these oysters. And then I realized, wait a minute, you're holding a knife to open those. And I'm like, yeah? Oh no, he's been shucking these oysters with a metal knife this entire time. So I had to roll damage. And I think it came out that he took around 400 points of fire damage opening oysters in the span of a day. So he had to basically my character died using oysters.
Bro, your character was super allergic to shellfish. My god.
It's like he's holding on to a burning knife. It's funny. It's like a 10,000 degree knife, but the 10,000 degrees is on the handle instead of the fucking blade. But my character's just like, no, my friends need to eat, so I'll fucking do this. Thankfully, we between like me, the bard, and the druid, we had just enough healing spells to leave me at like 4 HP to counteract it. But yeah, that was the weirdest thing. Roiling oyster damage.
God fucking damn it.
I
think
what about
mine
you?
Is when we were playing D&D with our group of friends, and I don't want to mention the person's name because I don't know why, but it kind of made me feel a little uncomfortable. But it was basically their character wanting to nail mine, and they wanted me to roll whether or not my character had an STD or something. And I was just like, wait, like it was a little over the top in the whole like, oh, I want to fuck things, and it was a little bit like, why do I now have to fucking take a stance on my character's sexual profile when they are just a fucking grappling luchador? Like,
oh yeah. What? Roll con save for STD?
I don't recall what I had to roll. I think it was basically a roll a d8, and then one is nothing, and the rest are like different STDs. And I think I actually had to like hard say I don't want to do that.
Okay. I think like when the Mora thing happened with Corey, I talked to our DM about that and like, hey, what if he had a magical STD that was basically wild magic? And he's like, bro, let's do it. Not one, your penis falls off immediately.
Oh god. What happens if you crit? Does it mean like your dick can cure STDs?
Maybe if you're a cleric. Oh god, like just to bring up that cursed PDF, there's this funny like every class somehow has a goddamn effect, like depending on their race and what class they are. And like apparently clerics can have like birth control where they can decide whether they want to have a person have a kid or not to have a kid thanks to their god. Land hands doesn't involve squeezing. I think like the weird one is that elves can't get pregnant, but warlocks can get impregnated by fucking anything. So if you're an elf warlock, they kind of cancel each other out.
What the fuck?
The podcast roll con save for STD.
Alright.
Really?
Cloudy, you have a rather decent computer now.
Yes.
Actually, better than mine from the sounds of it. You need to get your hands on Divinity 2 Original Sin.
Really?
Because that is a game that is all about those things where it's like canceling things out. Like you can get a spell where if you cast it on something that is on fire, it will cause an explosion. The explosion won't hit the thing that is on fire, but it will cause an explosion around that thing. And so, like, obviously, the normal go-to strategy is that, you will put something on fire, and then you will cast this spell, and it will make the thing explode, right?
Right.
But the game is like, here are the rules, and then it, like, leans into the mic going, now fuck it up. Because this spell, for example, it was like, I was playing it with Alice, and I'm on fucking fire, and then she casts this explosion thing on me, and I start exploding things, but I also have like pants on that makes it so I don't take fire damage, so I'm now just a fucking walking nuke.
I love when the game mechanics actively try to break. It's beautiful. I love exploit. I love it when the exploits are built into the game. This room has these vents that shoots out poisonous gas. What do? I know. Let me grab this box and put it on top of it. There, now the gas can't come out, and I can scavenge around with impunity. Oh, what's this? There's a ledge up there that I can't get up to, but I have my heartstone that I can teleport to. Let me just fucking chuck my heartstone up there and teleport to it. You can break that game 9 different ways to Sunday, and the game encourages you to do so. I remember seeing a video for Divinity Original Sin 2, and I remember telekinesis being the most busted thing, because the shit you can do with chests and boxes is nuts, because you can also nest chests within chests.
Oh yeah,
which is also busted.
Hey, the gas explodes and it's coming in through the vents. I have a lit candle. I'll throw it in the fire. Now there's a constant flame and constant gas and a constant everlasting area of explosions. What the fuck have I done? Yeah. We were talking about anal circumference and STD rolls. So, nothing big.
The usual. Boss starts to talk with my main character, use my other character to put 50 oil barrels.
We were literally calling Divinity Original Sin 2 Bumblefuck Adventures. Because at one point we were exploring a cave And then once we finished the cave, we found a shiny statue. We talked to the statue. God told us, oh, by the way, you're the chosen one. Here's superpowers and a whole new menu that you didn't know existed. And we walked out and was like, what the fuck just happened? And it turned out that we had skipped like 4 different quests just because we bumblefucked our way into a random dungeon.
I love when broken games just embrace it.
Yeah.
That's good shit. Ah.
Was there a question 2? Because I remember there was a question 1.
Yeah, no. Dreaker, you just sent a question 1, but you never sent a question 2. So. Good job. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, we got plenty of extra questions, but we can save that for later.
Not next month, because we're right at the end of May right now, but next month again, July, we can start answering those questions.
Yeah.
When you come back, better than ever.
Do you have access to the email? I feel like I pinned it.
It's a list for myself to know what I have asked.
Oh. Well, if you guys want your questions read, please send them now, because this is going to be the time to stockpile the questions.
Yes.
Alright.
I'm going to go have a birthday on Friday, and Cloudy, we will see you on the flip side.
Yeah. And if you guys have any podcast things between now and then, I hope you guys have a wonderful time.
Thank you. And for those of you who are listening to this, if there's anyone that you want to come on the podcast, let us know and we'll reach out to them. We cannot promise anything, but we will at least do an attempt.
Yeah.
See you guys next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye, everybody.